Hello there, I'm Black Bright and I'm broadcasting out of the east of England into your homes, onto your phones, and whatever platform you choose to watch me from. You can subscribe, you can like, you can dislike, you can comment, and you can share. Those are the main things that I tell you up front. Most subscribers know what I do. If it's the first time you're passing through, I tend to offer information that I come across that I think will be of benefit to people out there who may not have access to it because it's not on mainstream media. So while I'm called Black Bright News, I'm not really a news channel. I actually just talk about what's happening in the news, and if I feel it can benefit someone, then I'll talk about it. So today we're talking about the children of who, well, what they're saying, what the government is saying now is that British citizenship for children born in the country is automatic. Well, we know that's not true, not in the true sense of the word. There are conditions. So not just because you have a child born in the country does it qualify for British citizenship. The first criteria is that the parent, either or, must be a British citizen or have settled status in the UK. Settled status basically means you're ordinarily resident or normally resident, whatever they call it. They can either call it both names, it means the same, but it's where you've got a GP, you've got you have all the things that you need in order to live here as though you were a subject. So you'll have a library card, for example. You can use NHS healthcare, and you don't have to pay for it. Those kind of things. You have a bank account. That's what it means by having settled status. It means you're legally in the country, whether it's short term or long term. So, so that's the criteria under which children born in the country are automatic British citizens. And that's the irony, because going back to how they were questioning Rashad's Britishness, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. People do not know the law or legislation. They make up their own rules. And it's so annoying that people do not realise that if you're born in the country, regardless of your colour, regardless of your culture, regardless of your race, you are a British citizen if your parents are British citizens or they have settled status. So that's out of the way. So if you have a child in this country and you are legally in the country, then, especially with all this EU settlement scheme expiring, that's why it's really come into force. They've put in a new section, 10A, in the British Nationality Act 1981 to cover this. So for those of you who want to learn more about it, speak to an authorised immigration advisor. You can get them from the Home Office website. You can get them from the Law Society website. But just make sure you don't pick up some random immigration lawyer who's looking for a few bucks. Okay, make sure they are registered. I think it's OEIC. But just if you go to Home Office or gov.uk or the Law Society, any immigration advisor registered on those sites should be authentic. Okay, so on the 1st of July, which is just a couple of weeks ago, a new section was inserted in the British Nationality Act 1981. And this is the problem. Every now and then they insert a new legislation. People don't know that they're inserting all these legislations. And that is why the Windrush generation got caught out. Technically, they were ordinarily resident Commonwealth citizens, had automatic right to British citizenship back then. And so anyone who came in under that auspices, they were ordinarily resident and were released from any immigration control whatsoever. But they sneak in these little legislations that topple things, that change things, that all of a sudden you have to be in the country between a certain date, or your parents had to have been born within a certain date. The child had to have been brought into the country, within a certain time. And similarly, in order for this new legislation to apply, it's gone into force the 1st of July 2021. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So, okay. This new section was inserted in the British Nationality Act 1981 on the 1st of July. The new section 10A was presented for children whose parents missed the deadline of EU settled status. So, this, if they've already had settled status, they won't need to worry about this because their children, if born to them under that criteria, they'll be automatic citizenship. They'll have automatic citizenships. So the British Nationality Act 1981 stipulates that children born in the UK automatically get British nationality if, at the time of birth, the mother or father is either a British citizen or settled in the UK, and I defined that earlier. In this case, the child is not obligated to register or apply for citizenship. So they're just automatically British citizens. So I don't know why it changes and why they come up with all different kinds of legislation to suit themselves, but that's what happens. So, settled in the UK means an individual who is ordinarily resident in the UK, and like I said, that usually means they've got a GP, they've got a bank account, and they can rent, and they've got a driving license, those kind of things, and they have a GP. Now, how does the hostile environment impact that? How does it impact an individual becoming ordinarily resident if they are legally, through the Commonwealth pathway, legally resident? So, when not ordinarily resident through the Commonwealth pathway, coming in as a Commonwealth person entitled to British citizenship and automatic rights of residence. Now, because of the hostile environment policy that is preventing these individuals from gaining proof that they were ordinarily resident, i.e., they can't have access to a GP or healthcare, they can't get a bank account, they can't get a driving license, they can't rent a room. Really, what they're doing is taking away their ordinarily resident status that they're entitled to. Anyway, so let me see. Some Commonwealth citizens, I've already said that. Yeah, so technically, like I said, some Commonwealth citizens, e.g. the Windrush generation and the EU citizens, had an automatic right of abode in the UK, the same as British citizens, and therefore were free from immigration control. So when they moved here to settle, they were technically ordinarily resident. Same with EU now, EEA and Swiss nationals. It's exactly the same principle. Then they changed the laws midstream. All of a sudden, you're no longer ordinarily resident. You're no longer lawfully resident in the country. You inherit the title illegal immigrant because you now cannot prove that you're legally in the country when it wasn't a requirement in the past. And then they'll say, oh, well, you should have had this and you should have had that. Why? On one hand, you're saying we're going green, we need to watch the planet, get rid of all paperwork. And then at a moment's notice, you're expecting us to conjure up all this information and provide it to you, original copies usually. Anyway, children born in the UK from the 1st of July 2021 onwards automatically get British citizenship in conditions where a parent qualified EEC settled status before the EU settlement scheme deadline. So there might be a question mark, even though this 10A has been inserted for those who've missed the deadline. There might be some delays or lack of protection if you applied after the deadline. Not necessarily so, but there may be. So you've got settled status is only given after the child's birth. So that child is not automatically, well, on the one hand, the child will be automatically a British citizen if they're born after the 1st of July, but the parents will still have to prove their status, that they are legally in the country, that they have settled status in, with regard to EU or any other national, but we're talking about EU citizens now and EEA nationals. So they're going to have to prove in order for that child to get settled status. It's not going to be any different. So pre-settled status, in order to qualify and allow your child to be automatically a British citizen, you have to have settled status. So you have to apply for that. Section 10A of the British Nationality Act 1981, that's the new section, means children will get automatic citizenship from the date the parent is granted settled status and will be entitled to apply for the first British passport. Now, like I said, I'm not an immigration advisor. I'm not even an immigration professional. I just provide information, usually from a layperson's point of view, I'd like to think, and I leave you to get qualified information from an authorised individual, an authorised immigration advisor. So I hope you found that useful, and yeah, I hope you are okay with that. Bye-bye.